So let's say people listening have followed this advice. They've now got really good CVs, okay? And they're starting to see their CV to interview ratio get higher. They're applying for jobs, they're getting more interviews. Okay, wicked. All right, let's talk about how they can ace that interview and get the job, okay? We'll look at it from both the candidate's perspective and then the hiring manager's point of view as well. But we'll start with the candidate, the person job searching. Once again, we'll just go around. What would kind of be your biggest advice on interviewing? You know, you've all been involved in doing interviews and scheduling them. You see what works, what doesn't work, what common mistakes people make. What are they? What advice would you give? What recommendations, insights? We'll do the reverse order this time. So Steve, what's your good things, pet peeves? What's your view on interviews?
Yeah, so interviewing is like a really weird speed dating type game in a way sometimes.
Basically.
And I think something I would like to say to candidates out there is not every rejection was your fault. I know, and especially when like the market is tight, like you can be rejected a lot and be like, what's wrong with me? And sometimes it actually isn't you. It's like you're facing someone who's doing their second ever interview and they are not tight with it yet.
Yeah.
So don't feel down on yourself, I think, is like the first thing I really want to say to candidates out there, especially in a tight market. The second thing I would say is something I find beneficial is going through, as someone having done rounds of interviews and as in being the candidate in the last few years, going through the company's website, have a quick squiz through the tech blog if there is one, just trying to understand what they're trying to build, what their vibe is. Like, are they trying to be small and scrappy, try to build things quickly? Because then I can think of examples from my past that I'll bring up in the interviews. Or are they like large and established and they're looking for like process and procedure? Then I'll bring up those examples from my past experience. You need to tailor your answers to where the company is at and what they need to do. Because again, like as I just said, like this vacancy exists because a hiring manager, such as myself, has like a strategy that they need to execute. So you as a candidate coming in to help them execute that. And in their mind, they're like, how is this person going to get in line with my vision or help me grow or push my team forward, etc.
Sure. Yeah.
Those are the three big things. Something I would also recommend, I've had good experiences with this on the whole, is sometimes you can apply to a company directly, like through LinkedIn, whatever, and then you're kind of on your own. You're not really sure what their internal values are or what they're looking for in the interview. But when you go through an external recruiting company, not even the internal talent acquisition team, they're incentivized to get you that job. So to anyone listening to this, like, commission is usually like 25% of the first year salary, something like that.
15 to 25, depending on volume and negotiation.
Yeah. So the reason I say this is like an external recruiter is very incentivized to get you this job, and even then that payout only comes like at the end of the probation period or something. So they're incentivized to find the right person and put them in that role and get them to succeed through that probation period. Yes. So to that end, what they're likely to do is send you like info packs, prep packs. So the last interviews I did was when I joined Multiverse. And that was about, I think I interviewed for them in like August last year. And I went through an external company and they sent me all this reading material on like the internal values, what kind of characteristics they're looking for in candidates and that kind of thing. That's cool. And I went through it and I was like, oh, there's certain things here that I'm not lacking, but I wouldn't have talked about if I didn't know you were looking for it. So I was able to just pull up relevant examples or highlight certain aspects of relevant examples, and that helped me get through the door. And I have found, like, you know, at the same time I was at Multiverse, like I was in a few different processes, and some of them it's a crapshoot. Like you get in, you don't, and then they'll come back with feedback, say, oh, but you didn't demonstrate this. And I was like, I didn't demonstrate because I didn't know you were looking for that. Sure. So I guess my advice would be, and you guys are gonna love this. Go through an external recruiter if you can, and then push them to give you that kind of information, like the prep packs, and some recruiters will even like maybe give you feedback on why others failed their interview process, and that's kind of something you can review and look on and just be like, okay, they didn't demonstrate this or that, and think of the real examples, because as you said, like you're going to get questioned, and if you didn't really do the thing you said you did, it'll come out. It will come out.
I think what it comes down to, what you're saying really is just like research, right? Like going the extra mile with it, and not just doing it yourself, but asking others for information and insights as well that can help you on throughout the process. Because if you've got one candidate and they apply to a job on LinkedIn or Indeed, and they get an interview and they just go in and wing it, right? Or you've got another candidate who, does research on the blog and highlights examples in their past and finds colleagues on LinkedIn you might have worked together in the past that you can name drop, and sees that they like football, and you can mention that how did you join the game last night?
Ooh, that's a tricky territory, that one.
What, football?
Yeah. Well, trying to find common ground with the interview, because then that could be perceived as bias.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah. I get what you're saying, but I guess anything that you can do to stand out from the competition in terms of research, and I think, but more relevant about the job. The personal stuff is a cherry on top sometimes, but relevant information that connects to the position is useful. And like you say, recruiters are often the best source of getting that, because they have recruited for the company before, they understand the values, they understand what works, what doesn't work, and they can often give you that information better than almost anybody. What's your side of the equation, Craig? What do you see as important for candidates when going for interviews, mate?
Yeah, so, I mean, we've touched on the general concept of being prepared.
Yeah.
So the first point, emphasising a lot of stuff that Stephen said there, was do your research, look into the company, look into the interviewers if you can. Like you're normally going to be able to find a LinkedIn profile. You might be able to see, for example, blogs they've written. I generally suggest steering away from personal topics, but when it's work related, you might even see mutual companies that you've worked at or similar technologies that you've worked with, be able to talk about certain projects. So a personal touch, but still focused on the actual role and being prepared for the actual role itself. So that's one. Two, ask questions.
Oh, yeah.
So this is throughout the process, not just in the specific interview. So internal recruiters, like external recruiters, should prepare you for your interviews. They should be able to give you a baseline of expectations, what you're going to be asked in the interview, a range of other things. But it's a two-way street. It's an opportunity for you in the interview to ask questions to the interviewers. One, that can help you find out if the role is good for you, but also it can unearth additional insight for you. And then when you've unearthed that additional insight, you might be able to provide examples, provide them information that makes them think, oh, actually, I hadn't asked that because I hadn't thought about that. And that could help you. Again, it goes back to the point that interviewers aren't perfect. I think everyone assumes when you're a candidate, you go into an interview that the interview process is absolutely perfect. But the reality is say you're in an interview for an hour, you've got 1 hour to show a perception of yourself or show a certain set of skills from yourself. No interview is perfect where you're going to be able to do that. Sometimes things might get missed. And then, so going back to what Stephen said, it's not always your fault that an interview didn't go well. It's just it didn't align on that day. But unfortunately, the interviewers only have that time frame to be able to judge you. They can't judge you on anything else because that's time to spend with you. So making sure you make the most of it and asking questions as well as being prepared for their questions. And
there's so many questions to ask. I mean, surely you'll want to know about the roadmap and the tech and the projects and the progression and why you enjoy working there. What don't you like about working there? And the more intelligent questions that you can ask, your value as a candidate will just instantly skyrocket because it shows you're intelligent, it shows you're inquisitive, it shows you're curious, and it shows that you give a damn as well.
100%.
Okay, what's your point of view on interviews, Adam?
Two of them are being covered off already, which is unfortunate. But I think, in terms of doing your research, since I've started recruiting in tech, and I've been doing it at Metrobank for nearly 2 years now, it's scary how many people I speak to who know nothing. And I can't even be bothered to look at the website for 5 minutes before I have a phone call with them just to see what are they all about? Maybe it's some of their core values. And our website is so obvious who we are and what we do. It's not hard.
It's in the name, bank. Right?
Well, exactly. And I want to get into why Metrobank? What interests you? Oh, I just want to get into financial services. It's like, well, come on. So I think that summarizes down to enthusiasm. I think in interviews, enthusiasm goes a long way. And if you can show that you're interested in the company and this is why I'm interested and this is the research I've done, and then with questions, try and stay away from the typical off-the-shelf questions. Try and think outside the box. And I know it's always good to ask about progression and those sorts of things. But yeah, more around projects they're working on, what's the vision for the next 5 years, and those sorts of things, rather than wasting a question on what's the next steps. Because the next steps will obviously they're going to come back to you at some point. But I think one of the biggest feedbacks I get from people failing interviews is because they say we rather than I.
Oh yeah.
And that is one of the three things that we've talked about there. That's probably the main one, is that we did this, we did that. They're not interested in what the team did. They're interested in what you contributed to that team.
Yeah.
So you can still talk about, well, overall, we were looking to do this, but within that, I did this and I did that. Yeah. And that's where your tangible examples come from, that you're on your CV and things like that. So that's generally it's either there was no enthusiasm there, or they just talked about what the team did, and we couldn't. And even when you've given people feedback to say, look, you said we too much, next interview, you really need to focus on what you did in that project. And then people still can't do it. It's just, yeah. You're
not hiring a team, are you? You're hiring the individual. And I see this on CVs as well. It's always about the team did this, the team did that. Yeah. That oftentimes is a red flag for them hiding behind the achievements of others and not talking about what they specifically achieved as well. So I like what you said around questions that reflect on the background of the research that had been done, because you mentioned earlier about the blogs, and that's a really good point. So instead of asking, hey, what are the next steps, a better question would be, hey, I saw that you just landed this huge project with company X, tell me about that. That it shows that you've done the research, and it shows that you're smart and willing to ask those types of questions, right? Yeah. What were you going to say, Steve?
I have such mixed feelings about this whole thing about showing enthusiasm in a job, and I believe there's a diversity and inclusion angle to this, right?
Okay.
At a certain level in a company, you start to assume that everyone should be interested in your company and everything, and you forget, like, a lot of people come from backgrounds where it's just like, I need a paycheck.
Yeah, sure.
Right? And I'm willing to do the grift. Like, I'm willing to do the work. You tell me what I need to do. I'm willing to do the work, but I do not care what your company is, right? I'm just here to get a paycheck. And I feel like at a certain level, we forget that. We lose that sight. And there's a diversity and inclusion angle to this, I genuinely believe, right? And I know it's almost given as accepted now in the industry that you have to turn up to an interview showing a lot of interest and enthusiasm about the company, and it's like, oh, I need to eat and pay my rent.
Sure.
So I just want to acknowledge that for, like, anyone listening to this podcast going, oh my God, a bunch of people who just want me to be interested in them. Like, I really do want to acknowledge that. And I think the key word here is keeps coming back to enthusiasm. I think most of us have used that word at this point, right? Because the hiring manager wants to know that you're going to come in fired up to deliver and make their lives easier, push the team forward, et cetera, et cetera. And that's the key thing that you want to get across. So, it is a necessary evil that you do like a 5-minute job looking into the company, looking into their blog posts, whatever it is, just to see how you can demonstrate that you will help them move forward. I just wanted to put that out.
And I don't see it. Sometimes I don't see it like, because I see things on LinkedIn, like recruiters going, oh, like hiring managers or internal recruiters, stop thinking that your company's the best thing since sliced bread and everyone wants to come and work for you and everyone should be honoured to work for you. I don't see it like that. Part of me does, but the way I see it is, if they can't be bothered to do a little bit of research prior to the interview, what are they going to be like when they actually get here?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the angle that
enthusiasm.
That's the angle that I come. I'm not thinking that Metrobank is like the best thing in the world and everyone is gagging to go work for us, and like obviously we've got loads of people applying and we're the best thing in the world. It's more so just that, can this person that we were interviewing have that baseline to just go out of their way and spend, it doesn't take that long to research your company, but can they prep for an interview and come do the, because if they're not going to do that, what are they actually going to be like when they get into the role? And I think that's where I see it coming from.
So definitely it helps to like maybe make you as a candidate make your research relevant. So maybe you look into the blogs and you go, okay, well, this is the tech they're working with. These are the kind of things they've experimented with recently. This is what I'm interested in. Maybe I'm not so interested in, as a company, we've just acquired this other company. But what I am interested in is like the micro stuff. So find something where you can, as a candidate, find something where you can be enthusiastic and you can come in and be like, hey, this was really interesting to me. Where you going with this? where do you want to take this technology, etc.
Yeah, like real curiosity is
Yeah.
obvious. People can tell when you're faking that sort of thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's a good point.
I think some people have an assumption that enthusiasm also equals high energy in an interview, and I don't agree with that. I think that one thing I want to highlight to candidates out there is that just because we're saying show some enthusiasm, as you say, that word can also be curiosity.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you need to go into the interview and be this super high energy person.
Yeah.
And that's also advice that you should be giving to hiring managers in interviews, is that don't expect every personality type to come into the room. Interviewers shouldn't expect every candidate that comes in and sits in an interview to be high energy as a way of showing enthusiasm.
Yeah.
There are lots of other ways to show enthusiasm, and I've had multiple cases in the past where I've had to work with hiring managers on those kinds of concepts that going, oh, but they didn't show enthusiasm. Okay, why? Oh, well, they didn't seem like super enthusiastic and high energy in the interview. And it's like, okay, I understand that, but there are other ways to show that level of enthusiasm.
Yeah, high energy, oftentimes with even the tech world, it often isn't the answer, because a lot of people are introverted, right?
Yeah.
I mean, from a sales perspective, you almost want to match and mirror their body language and tone and behavior to really, if you want to be effective at that sort of thing. But I think it just comes down to like giving a damn. Like you can tell if somebody cares on or not, and if you care and if you show that, then that's what we mean by enthusiasm, right? That's what we mean by energy. So it's just giving a damn about it.